Precious, I saw that you were quite excited when he was talking.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have something to add to that?
No, I mean, I absolutely agree. It's interesting that he will talk about Spider-Man. My younger brother did the same thing. Yes, flew, fell down, broke his arm, trying to. And I really love when, Moses Obakolo, I believe he's an institution. I just want to give him his flowers.
Wow.
God bless you. God bless you. Thank you, praise, for having Moses. You owe us books, films, etc. before you exit this planet. You see, many people have no clue. What you have no idea of, abuse is imminent. I'm a Benin woman, and anybody who knows me knows that that's who I am, like the core of who I am. But you see, I'm able to exist like this because I have grandparents who told me that Edo, during period, when Tiga Sogado, Edo got someone. So that's how I grew up. So even growing up, the Italian pandemic and things people used to say, I consider myself a sacred being. You know why? Because that's how I grew up. So it's so important that you know. I met a lady in Lagos who has never been to Benin. She's a Benin girl, and she says she's ashamed of it. She wishes she was Yoruba. That's what happens. Nothing wrong with being Yoruba. Salute to you people. Depending on the history, if you understand it correctly, we are relatives in that sense. But who is senior or junior, I will not get into that conversation. It's for another place. But when she said that to me, what I understood was, this is a woman raised without knowledge of who she is. And it's dangerous, very dangerous, to raise people without knowing the source from whence you came.
Thank you. That's very profound. The last question is for you, Precious. As a curriculum developer, how can we ensure our rich culture, solid value, and solid values and family systems are embedded into the curriculums that are being developed by our educationists today?
Thank you so much for that question. I think one of the things that we need to do is think about what it means to be even in school, respectfully to the professors, etc. But I just want to say something about my education. My mind was manufactured by my father. I'll say it again. My mind was manufactured by my father. Not in any school. The curriculum that built me was manufactured by my father. I was 16 when I questioned religion. My Catholic father, unafraid of who his God is, will drop me in a Pentecostal church and come and pick me. He will see me on the streets of Benin evangelizing. His Catholic friends will go and tell him, and he say, oh, that's Imua. Anything she does, she's passionate. Better there than with the boys. And now that I'm 40 and we have conversations, because, I've gone full circle, I ask him, what gave you that confidence to allow me? Because you see, we are very almost manipulative as parents. You want to indoctrinate a child. And that's why sometimes they rebel, because we're sovereign beings. Let's, get that one clear. And then by the time you've done they followed your curriculum, they've done all the rigid things, one day they're fed up with you, and then they come out as an adult that this is who they are. And then you start to feel like a lie. But you see, in allowing me think, because that's the thing we don't do enough of in Africa, any curriculum that we would have that is worth its salt must allow for critical thinking. We don't think enough. I hear the conversations around the West and who we were. Even the questions of who we were, it's so distorted. And that's why I started with speaking to Moses and saying that he owes us books, that we are not even clear. Even in systems, I'm going to quickly talk about patriarchy because a lot of it has come out. You guys invited me, hi. So I don't know whose wise decision it was to put me on the panel, so I will go there. If you examine, again, I'm a Bini girl, descendant of the Idia extraction. When you examine our culture very deeply, it's not even exactly true that we were patriarchal in that sense. We ran a very balanced system where the woman was honored and the man was honored. If you look at a lot of our songs, if you sing the Benin songs, most of the tributes are to mothers. It almost sounds like we ran a matriarchy. Am I right or am I right? Yeah, but we copy, and it's so funny, and this is where the difficulty of going back is who is going to take us back? We take the part of culture that suits whatever narrative we want to push, and then we hold on to that. And then the one that does not. So for example, now that we're on the subject of culture, is monogamy African? Yeah? How many grandfathers were monogamous? We don't want to touch that. We like that about the Oyibo people, don't we? Yeah, but we don't like the other one where they say a man should marry a man. I think that one has... So here is my point. Nature honors evolution. That's why I go back to critical thinking. If our grandfathers were here, in the world of AI, in the world where you can sit here, Iyo Saze, my grandmother, God bless her soul, told me that you could, you could sit here and have conversations with people in Benin or even outside of Benin. They did it in their own way. That science is not something we appreciate, right? We appreciate the one that came from the West. So you cannot pick and choose, in my opinion. Anything that you want to solve, you must go to the roots, right? So if I were to create a curriculum, just back to your question, I will seek to understand, number one, within the formal constructs, but I will focus more on the informal constructs, which is where most of our population resides. Most people do not exist in formal school. We've made the formal construct so important that somebody's inability to even speak Queen's English is a problem to us. The minute I come here and I'm standing and I'm talking to elite Nigerians, and I say, didn't we went there? All of you will turn off and assume that I don't know what I'm saying, but I could be wise. Why? Our thinking is English. That's a problem. You cannot think in a construct, and you see, one of the reasons why many of these things don't go the distance, you cannot fight yourself successfully and win. It doesn't work. If you want to solve a problem, you go to the roots. I particularly do not have any issues with the West, just to make that clear. I think civilizations evolved. There was a time when, again, a Benin girl, where we ruled in that sense. It's evolved and it will evolve again. But here's the thing. What is the African trust? What does it mean to be African? What is the African consciousness? Do we know? Do we know? Because we cannot pick one side and then, hold on to that side, and then the one that doesn't suit us, doesn't suit us. So back to curriculum, I would not focus on formal schooling alone. I will focus on what the likes of the great Priest Fowowe and co are doing, and I will start from the home. Again, my mind, confidence, everything was manufactured by my dad, not any school. My teacher was telling me I was a dunce. That was what my physics teacher said. And when I will go home, my father will say, how dare he? You are too smart, you have come before your time, so they don't know you. You are a genius, and he's not educated enough. Yes, my father, fathers matter. My father. And he will say they are not educated enough to assess you. So I will go back to school confident. I need you to annoy my teachers. Like this Olodo that has a chip on her shoulder. And it will continue until I ended up in England and I had a distinction. And my father said, I told you that you are a genius. So you see this family system, that is the curriculum we must strengthen. It's not just society. We must go back and start to, not to fight ourselves. Number one, accept that we're in the world of AI. If you want to solve anything, you start with acceptance, especially parents. Otherwise, you will de-alienate your children. You will sound strange. My kids, if you start to do all these gay hates and everything, my children look at you funny. And they're like, oh, Mom, gosh, that's homophobia. What's that? Because I cannot be teaching them God is love in one side, and then on the other hand telling them that you're supposed to hate somebody else. They're like, oh, Mommy, you're not thinking. So you would remove them from the equation. So you start with the home, the family, and then we now have to rethink our families. I'm going to close by saying something, just to disclose to everyone. She asked me how to address me, and I said, you can just call my name because I'm divorced. And yes, I am. The whole let's not get a divorce. I'm not here to preach. Is it okay? Can I go on? Yeah, because I'm divorced, right? And it's so important. Another narrative I want to very quickly touch now is the idea that a single loving parent also cannot raise children. There's a dangerous narrative, and I'm not by any way saying don't get married. But if somebody is being abusive, I disagree strongly that you should sit in there in the name of Don't do it. You get out of that situation. Because let me tell you, people will say they stayed for their children. Do you know why I left? I left because I love my children. I don't want my daughter or son, or worse, my son, to think it's okay to lay his hand on anybody's child and then come home and say, Mommy, because that is how I'm supposed to do it. My forefathers didn't do it. When the meeting was held when I got a divorce, my father called all his brothers, and that day I was proud of my family. No one person in my lineage had hit their wife, no one. They called to the 90-year-old man. Not one person in the lineage where I come from had hit their wife. So it was abnormal to us. We don't do it. So I say that to say, if we want this future that we dream of, where children that have agency, girls that have agency, you want them to come and sit down in a world where you are not raising boys to know that it's not okay under any family structure to hit a woman, that we are getting it wrong, right? So let's go back to the families. Let's not be so judgmental. Gosh, Nigerians be so judgmental. Stop it. Not really. Everything judging. Why? Stop it. You stop being so damn judgmental. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Wow. So Precious, if I wasn't the moderator, this is the part where I'll be standing up. So I'm standing up in my mind for you because you speak my language, and that's it.